In this lecture, I will just take you through the basics and important concepts quickly, which we saw earlier as well. But it is better that you don't skip the lecture so that you are clear with the events once again and the fundamentals are not missed. So here you can see that React events are using camel case. That is, in JavaScript we write onClick like this, but in React we write onClick this way, that is the camel case. Also, we put the function inside curly brackets and do not put parentheses, as otherwise it will call it on load, and that I'm going to show you in a moment. Let's quickly look at the piece of code. So I will just open the code sandbox. Alright, so now here in this code sandbox code, I'll just first of all remove the default elements. And inside the division, let me create a button. Here I say button. And the button will be get data. And now let me add an event. So you see that I write on click, C is capital, equals to, now let's say that I'm going to call a function named get data. So here I just say get data. Now let me also create the function. So here I'm going to say const get data is equal to, and I will have an arrow, and inside this I'm going to say console log function called. Now let me just show you the output. So here you see the button, and if I click on this button, you see that the function called message is displayed. So this is how we write an event. Now let me just refresh this code once again. Now you see that from the beginning we do not have any message, that is function called. Now because it's a function, sometimes it happens that we want to pass parameters. Let's say here in the get data, let me put parentheses and see in the console what happens. Here I put parentheses. Now because the code automatically refreshed, you see that on the load of this code, the function called message is executed. Not only that, now if I click on get data, it is not executing. That means when we did not have parentheses, it was working fine. But the moment you put these parentheses, it means on load it is going to call the function. This you give when you have to pass parameters. Let's say you want to pass some value here, and that you want to show in the function. So whenever you put parentheses, that means this function should not be called immediately. Rather, it should return the function so that it can be called at a later stage, somewhat like function expression. So in this case, what we do is we return the function. And this function we return with another, let's say an arrow function or maybe traditional function like this. But because in case of arrow function, it's a single line, so you do not need the return statement, you can certainly avoid it. Now let me refresh again the code, and you see that earlier it was showing function called from the beginning, but now it is not showing it. And also if I click on the button, you see that it is executing properly. So do remember, when you are writing an event, if you have parentheses, that means if you have parameters to pass, you will need to write it like this. These are the few things you need to understand. Now we are going to dive deeper with various types of other events and the event object also in forthcoming sections.